Hi, I'm Heather, and today at Spirits Freedom Farm we are going to make Hungarian goulash. Hi, today we are going to make Hungarian goulash. Now where I grew up in the Midwest, here the goulash had a different meaning. It was something more of a sweet chili, ground beef, and tomatoes over elbow macaroni. That is not what we're making today. That is not real goulash. And having spent some time in Europe as a kid, I can remember as a kid trying the real deal, real goulash, and I can remember how delicious it was, and so I'm so glad that I found a recipe that reminds me of that. So today I'm just going to go over first all of our ingredients. There are a lot of ingredients, and what we're going to make, instead of that chili over macaroni, we're going to be making sort of a thick soup or a soupy stew, somewhere in between there, with beef and vegetables and a really dark brick red sauce gravy. So the ingredients that we're going to need, we are making a double batch. You can scale it up or down as you need to. We're going to have 2 pounds of onions sliced up, a couple cups each of potatoes and carrots, I don't know, about a cup or so of, cup and a half maybe, of tomatoes chopped up, a couple cups of sliced or diced up red pepper. Now I've used here the Hungarian peppers that we grew. We love goulash so much we decided we would try growing Hungarian peppers. So if you do use bell pepper, that will work just fine. Just don't use green bell pepper. Use a red, orange, or yellow one, a nice sweet one. I will say about a half a teaspoon of crushed garlic. You can use, a few cloves, 3, 4, 5, whatever, 8, depending on the size. But I've got about a half a tablespoon of crushed garlic there. I've got some lard that we're going to cook it in. You can use butter or tallow if you prefer. I have about 6 tablespoons of paprika, a teaspoon of caraway seed, 2 bay leaves, 2 pounds of stewing meat, and I actually have 1 quart of beef broth here. We're going to need 2, and salt and pepper, of course, to taste. So let's get started at the stove. So I melted the lard in our cast iron Dutch oven here, and I have added in the onions, and we're going to let those cook down. We'll stir them up a little bit, add a little salt, and let those cook down, and when they start to brown, we'll be ready for our next step. Okay, we have cooked our 2 pounds of onions here until they are just starting to brown, as you can see. We're going to turn the heat off and add in our paprika. We do not want the paprika to burn, or it will get bitter and not taste so good. So we're going to stir this in really quickly with the heat off. Just add that in. Oh, it smells really good. Now obviously this is one of the things that gives that yummy sauce. That's really pretty color. Alright, now that we have that mixed in, we're going to go ahead and add in, turn the heat back on, and add in our stew meat. And I didn't mention before, but I cut some of these up in smaller pieces, so they are approximately bite size. We are going to brown this beef until, well, cook it until it's brown. We're going to go ahead and add our caraway seeds in now as well. So we're just going to cook this until the meat is brown. Okay, you can see our meat is now brown. So I'm going to add, and that just took, I don't know, few minutes, less than 5. I'm going to add in our sweet pepper, and I'm going to add in enough salt and pepper for the meat and the peppers. And that's what I do, is I'll add salt and pepper as I go for what I'm adding in. So here we go, and we're going to cook this for just a few minutes. Alright, this has been cooking, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes, and the peppers are just starting to soften a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and add in our garlic and cook that for just about a minute. We don't want that to, it doesn't need to cook for too long, so just mix that in, cook that a minute. Okay, our garlic cooked for 1 minute, and I added in 1 quart of our broth. I'm going to add in our potatoes and carrots. Try not to be too sloppy, splash too much. So we're going to add in the potatoes and carrots, our 2 bay leaves, our cup and a half of diced tomatoes. Those are our pretty Cherokee purple tomatoes from our garden. Aren't they pretty? So we're going to stir this up. We do have another quart of broth. I'm going to let this cook down just a little bit, so that, and I'm going to add the broth as we go, as there's room in the pot. And we may end up not needing quite the two quarts. We will see. But I'm going to, right now, I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And then reduce it. So I'm going to put the lid on so it will boil. Alright, this is boiling, so we are going to reduce the heat and let this simmer about 45 minutes. And I will check it periodically to see if we need to add some more broth to it. The nice thing is the liquid will evaporate, but all that flavor from the broth will stay in here. So we're going to let this simmer, and we will be back when it's ready.
Please visit the blog post linked in the video description below for more information about this video and the supplies used.